All right, let's get started at 7 o'clock. We will have the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Hey, Travis. All right, thank you. No change to the order of business. Communication to the board. I did not have any. Jeff, I can't remember if you had any. No, nothing. So we'll open it up for public comment. Any public comment tonight? Nothing? All right. We will close public comment. I do not have anything under the chair's report. We'll talk about, some things under new business. So we'll move right on to the superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you, Carl. Very heartfelt thanks to our entire schools, all of our schools and our staff for having a great and smooth opening of schools for the 23-24 school year. A huge amount of kudos goes to our lovely administration that's right here in the audience, Dr. Carroll and Mrs. Kennedy, for having such a smooth opening with all of staff, supporting and welcoming all of our students on the first day of school, which opened with a little bit of rain. And since then we've had some hot and warm weather, but our staff and students have endured and done their absolute best. Huge shout out because one of our teachers is on a long-term maternity leave currently, and Heather Mathis, our curriculum coordinator, stepped in to be that long-term second grade teacher for the beginning of the year. We didn't have any viable candidates, so she stepped in to do that. And she taught and opened up school for the classroom for the second grade classroom, and even had guest stars teaching mathematics lessons from our very own Mrs. Kennedy. So it takes a village, and everyone stepped up to meet the needs of our students, to meet the needs of our community and where we're at. So we're off to the races and running. I do want to make sure that the custodians receive a huge shout out for their attention to detail. They've done a tremendous job. If you walk through any of our buildings, every need has been met, from teachers to students. They've done a great job preparing our schools to be safe for opening. The schools look incredible. If you haven't walked around, I invite you to do so. Also a very special shout out to Kaylee Midwinter, who is also here in our audience for a very successful summer school program. Would not be as successful without you. So thank you so much for your oversight, your organization, and your heart for kids. So thank you for that. And also cafeteria food is very much more improved. How do I know that? Our student voices. Our kids are telling us that, was it the French fries are up a notch. Got a little kick to them. So since going over to Ed Advance, the kids' response has been great in terms of the nutrition services that we're attaining through Ed Advance as well. So overall, things went very smoothly. From transportation, we had a couple quick hiccup, which is normal, the first time or second time that the buses are running, weather implications as well, but overall, very happy with that as well. So those are my updates in terms of the opening of schools. Last time we met, I reported that we had 444 students. We now have 454 students. So we've had more students that have enrolled, and some of our students, again, to be confidential and discretionary, have special education needs. And that is also had us take a very careful look at our caseloads, which we talked about in August. Michael Lynch, our Director of Student Services, had a presentation for us. So we've had an influx of students with special needs, which we have to meet the needs of through their IEPs and through the PPT process. So I've emailed the board and let everybody know that we have to increase our FTEs for special education in order to meet the needs of all of our students that have moved into district. Very proud of that. I think that we're going to continue to provide amazing services for our students. So that's on the enrollment side. And go ahead, Penny.
Paul, my husband's trying to join me. He keeps saying, hey, host, waiting to join the meeting. I'm sorry?
The meeting is open. I just joined it myself.
Okay, I'll ask him if he's on another site.
Could that be the other meeting?
Could be the other meeting. So if he's logged in there and he sees this, there's a quick post-it to click onto the hyperlink that's here. It's in the chat. And you could join the Google Meet that way, or you can also call and listen in. So the number is still the same. It's 636-373-8891. And then there's a PIN. And that's okay. 632-494-080 hashtag or pound sign. All right. So those are my opening of school updates that I have for everybody. The other quick thing that I wanted to just put in everyone's hands that I just received yesterday from the Commissioner of Education is our PDEC, which is our Professional Development and Evaluation Committee, just met, and every year we have to adopt our calendar for professional development, and we also have to take a look at the way that we evaluate. And there have been flexibilities in place since COVID that New Hartford, the PDEC committee, has voted to continue to extend those flexibilities. So I received an official letter. I just want to put in everyone's hands to take a look at. It does say that per state statute, it requires that the amended or the adopted plan be voted on by the Board of Education. Oh, sorry. So just want you to take a quick look at that. Nothing has changed. We're just adopting those flexibilities to continue. I'm very pleased that the State Department of Education is taking its time, because sometimes we rush things, and I think that they're doing their due diligence and getting very valuable feedback from all and providing draft guidance for our teacher evaluation plan going forward. So please take a moment to read that over, and then I will ask Carl or a member of the board. So we have that adopted, those flexibilities again for the 23-24 school year. We'll be working this year to put in place an evaluation plan that fits the needs of our school system. And we may be working in collaboration with Ed Advance and surrounding districts. More to come on that, and we'll inform the board of our work with teacher evaluation going forward. Yes, I'm requesting a motion that the amended plan that we just voted on as a PDEC committee for New Hartford Public Schools, that the board approves the state statute required amended plan to be adopted by the local regional. Nothing's changed. It's just we're going to continue to implement the flexibilities. So the motion would be to continue that for this upcoming school year for 23-24.
Mary seconds. Do you have enough for the motion itself?
I don't know, I'll listen to what you all said and come up with something.
I think the subject line is probably does
Make
it.
a subject line.
The subject line in the letter.
Oh, just,
Yeah, it's for the continued flexibilities of the teacher evaluation program, essentially.
Okay.
For 23-24.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, I tried to give it to her, but
I have a copy, thank you.
where?
I don't need two.
I don't see it. Oh,
Right
there it
here.
is. All right. Okay.
Last thing I wanted to mention before I sign off or turn it back over to our board chair is that convocation was also took place since our last meeting, and it was very well received. We surveyed staff in terms of what they liked about it. They felt that it met their needs and it was genuine. And we had invited Dan Jerem to speak. So he came and he spoke and he addressed everybody, and which was very nice. And also Carrie Guilfoyle. So both were very well received by our faculty and staff at convocation. And then we commenced with professional development and the needs of our district. Also a special thank you to Bob Diorio, who came and started to work with our staff with safety in mind and working with staff for CPR and working with our paraeducators on that to keep all of our kiddos and our staff safe. So special thanks to Bob Diorio as well. That's all.
Thanks, Jeff. And I'm sorry I couldn't make it to the convocation. I went last year and it's a great, great time. to see everybody together. So I apologize, I couldn't make it. All right, moving on to line item transfers, routine business. There's one transfer.
This is for end of year balancing our books.
So this is the previous,
Correct. This is
Year.
from last year's budget.
Make a motion that we accept the line item transfer of 28,000 from sped transport to teacher substitutes.
I'll second. Was this just something that was missed at the end of the
Yes.
year?
Yep.
Okay.
Bookkeeping, looking at all the line items and saying, oh, this one is still far below where it should be to try to bring it to a zero balance.
Does not change the,
Nothing for this year. No,
okay.
nope. Good question.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. The minutes from the last meeting, anyone have any questions on those? Did you steal mine?
I did not, but I'll share with you.
I have them here somewhere.
What's this?
That's the
Minutes
minutes.
from last meeting.
What are you looking for?
Oh, they're right here. Jeez. Anyone have any questions on the minutes, or can I have a motion to approve the minutes? A second?
I'll
Anyone?
second them.
Any seconds? Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the expenditure report? Unless anyone has any questions. Mary, any second? Tony seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. So I had forwarded everyone the letter from First Selectman Jerem in response to our request. We voted back in March to put on the ballot in this November the security guard issue. We had set aside funds to cover the cost of one security guard, but we wanted to get feedback from the public via the ballot as far as, you know, their opinions on adding a security guard to our I'll say our staff, but it might not be our staff. That request has been denied in that letter that I forwarded to you. I want to thank Jeff for a lot of time he has put in over the course of 3 months trying to, you know, answer questions from the selectman's office, putting together the question itself, making modifications. But as you read in that letter, based on some feedback from the town lawyer for various reasons, they felt it wasn't appropriate to put it on the ballot. So, you know, that's sort of water under the bridge at this point because the time has passed to put it on the ballot. We're very close to passing. So as a board, I just wanted to make you aware of all that. And I think we need to just make a recommendation as how to move forward with this. My recommendation would be to, in conjunction with Jeff, to direct him to have public sessions, informational sessions with the public to make people aware or available to answer questions about what this role of the security officer would be, if we even call it a security officer. Gather that feedback in 1 or 2 sessions. We can decide tonight. And then, you know, the board would move from there, how to proceed basically based on that feedback and how we want to move forward. So I guess I would rather, I think we should just have a motion to make that happen. If anyone wants to make a motion or if anyone has any other ideas how to move forward. But I think that's probably the best thing to do at this point.
I'll make a motion that we hold at least two. I'll make a motion that we hold at least two informational meetings so that the public can become aware of what we envision happening to protect our school children. Okay?
Also, Tom seconds. All right, let's discuss. So I agree. I think, I'm sure some people understand what we're trying to do, others might not. And, I think it's important that, Jeff has gathered a lot of information as far as the roles of a security officer. And I'm probably saying the wrong term, security officer. But there's been other terms used, what the function of this person would be, what the current, what kind of, without delving into details that we don't want to share, but what the current security situation is as far as our use of the resources we have in town already. But just in talking with Jeff myself, this person is multifunctional and a resource to the school more than just security itself. So I think it's important that we make sure the public understands that position and all the details that we have. So, for what that's worth.
Should the motion be more specific to a security officer rather than just a discussion to keep the kids safe? I mean, because we've done security measures in the past. This discussion is more specific to that, isn't it? You know what I'm saying?
I do, because your motion is about
It's a little vague, maybe.
keeping our children safe, which is kind of all encompassing.
Yes. I'm not sure. I'm not sure the route to go for this would be to hire a person, an armed person to be in our schools, as opposed to implementing measures like putting the stuff on the inside of the windows, as Jeff has talked about previously, installing more cameras, getting notification to LCD quicker than what is being done now. And then when you think about it, actually, whose budget is it going to come under? In reading the letter, I believe that it doesn't come under our budget, but it might come under the town's or the police department. And then who does this person report to? We're not hiring him. He has to have someone that he reports to. Let me finish. When we had the discussion about Bakerville School, we flooded the town with plenty of information and plenty of meetings where people could come and voice what they felt, how they felt. I think we should do the same thing for this. I don't think we should rush into it.
I agree. I'm just saying the motion should be more directed because I think we're discussing the resource of the right? That's the 75,000 that's set aside for that.
Correct.
So that's the point right here.
But the 75,000 that we had set aside initially for him, taking him out of other things that we plan to do, like painting. Now that, the way I understand it, now that the town attorney has said, because he felt it was sort of vague what we were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and this is my own interpretation of it, that it was vague in what we were doing. That money, the town's already approved that money. That money then goes back into those buckets where it came from. So by presenting it over the next couple of months and then voting on it at the next budget referendum next spring, that would
No.
be like a new budget.
Well, the money's already in the budget. So it's our decision as a board to figure out.
But I thought
how
that
we-
money, now that we've been told we can't do it,
No. We weren't told we
Okay.
can't do it. We were told it can't be on the ballot.
okay,
We as a
sorry,
board have set aside that money. That's our decision, how we want to spend that money.
okay,
If we want to use it to paint or buy hire a security guard.
okay,
Um,
my
but the-
mistake.
No, it's all right. But the idea with the public sessions is to just make the public aware. You know, we had the mail-in vote or the survey we had,
I mean, the QR code
the QR code.
that most people, a lot of older people had no clue what it was.
Right. And that's why that's why I think we need public information sessions so people can get feedback. We can even have it zoomed, live so people can get the information they need.
It's more specific to what the referendum was gonna be that they don't want to put on the ballot.
The security guard itself.
Right, so
not
that's,
general safety,
right.
to your point. I agree. I mean, the issue with discussing general safety is, we don't want all of our security measures out there in public.
Right. Exactly.
This is specific around the security guard itself. You could rescind your motion if you want, and you could make a new one.
So what, let me understand, you want a new one saying that,
I think it just should be more specific to the security officer.
that we hold informational meetings about employing a security officer? Okay,
Can I
I'll
ask a
rescind my
question?
previous motion and I'll make a new one. That we hold at least 2 informational meetings for the townspeople to discuss employing a school security officer in New Hartford.
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Tom, second.
Can I ask a question?
Discussion.
So the 75 grand that was set aside, that wasn't approved by the Board of Finance. We kind of just, or was it that the way that we pulled those funds from those buckets was approved from the Board of Finance?
That was our budget.
So our budget
decision.
was approved
Our budget
before
is
we
approved.
pulled that money out of the buckets though, right?
Correct. Our
So the budget
as
was
it
approved
stands.
for the painting and all that stuff that we said we were gonna do, and then we just kind of created this
Correct.
75 grand.
Correct.
So at this point, wouldn't it, I mean, I thought this step was to let the town vote on it. If that's not gonna happen, why aren't we just allocating the money as we're supposed to?
Go ahead. Yeah. Yes.
So the town did vote on it. They passed the budget, and within that budget was $75,000 pulled off for a security guard.
That happened after they voted
No.
on it.
It was the budget that was put before the town had a $75,000 line item for
For
the
security.
potential hiring of a security guard.
That's correct.
So this is still something that us as a board, we can just say, we're gonna hire a security guard and vote on it and make it happen?
The funds are there to spend for a security guard or for painting or whatever. We can allocate the funds how we would like to. But the issue of, we wanted to get more feedback, and obviously we're not from the vote. So the idea is, to Penny's point, we think the public deserves more opportunity for comment and education on the subject. And that's through these informational sessions. And after they're completed, it's us as the board makes the decision on how to.
It's the board's intention to hire a security guard.
or not, depending on, what comes of those meetings and how we want to proceed going forward.
So today I was at a Connecticut Police Chiefs Association meeting, and there's a lot of information available through that organization regarding SROs and armed security guards. There's an outreach program that they're involved with, and I will get that information to Jeff. But that goes with my question, these informational sessions that we're talking about having, which I'm in favor of. I'm just wondering who will be presenting the information. Is it, we envision Jeff getting fully up to speed on who employs, hours, rotation, because those are the questions going to come up from the public. What are all those little details? Is that what we envision? Jeff getting up to speed and being able to present articulately, whether it be supported by some information from the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association or actually a member of the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association coming and answering some other maybe extraneous questions that Jeff couldn't answer. Is that what we envision doing?
Yes, I mean, for me, I would be presenting with the utilization of an explanatory text, which I already created, which had a lot of the detail that you're asking about right now. But it was more to get obviously the feedback from the community in addition to the survey that we've already posted. So in terms of rotations and the fine detail things, we wouldn't be sharing because it would compromise security. But if they had other questions that I couldn't field or answer, then perhaps someone who's a school resource officer like Mr. Woods or Officer Woods over in Region 7 could accompany me to help answer any of those questions. But I feel pretty well versed. I've been researching this for a while now, since March, since we started the discussion. So I feel confident that I could explain a lot of the questions or information to come and then field questions as they see fit. But I think it's really important that our board members are present so that we could hear what our stakeholders want to share relative to their thoughts about implementing a armed guard in our schools to protect our kids. But I feel pretty confident I could manage most of it. But any resources I'd love to read and I love to research. So the more that you can share with me, I may take advantage of that too. Sure. Thank you.
Have we reached a consensus as a board that we want a school security officer in the schools?
So far, we wanted more feedback based on the last vote. So we'll have to.
Do you think maybe before we have an informational session with the public, we should kind of be a united front, one way or the other?
Well, we should be, yes. But I'm hoping going through the course of informational sessions will help us get together on that.
I think we did vote on it and it was a no vote, which is why the discussion was to put on a referendum, right? To see what the town thought. So
Right.
the board has voted on it in the past.
Right. We came to a consensus that we wanted more feedback.
But we also made the decision because we had sent out the survey and there was a larger percentage of parents and people that vote us in that wanted a security guard from the survey.
Right.
So, right, we did the due diligence, did the survey, sent it out,
We did. Yeah.
presented the information.
Well, there were some issues with it.
Yeah. I had some people had issue with the survey itself, the QR code. You're never going to get when you send a survey or a vote for that matter, not everyone's going to respond. So,
Then we don't want to look into other ways we can spend the 75 grand for the school.
that's up to the board.
Don't forget too, 4 members on this current board are leaving. So we'll have 4 new members after election. They may feel differently than what this current board feels. So, I mean, I would recommend even holding off on the first informational meeting until after the new board is in place.
Hmm.
Just a thought.
Well, to that point, I mean, we can make sure that the people that are running are invited to the meetings.
Right.
I think that's important.
It would be nice if they attended some of these meetings also.
And someone brought it up, I think you mentioned it, Tom, the fine details about who the person reports to. Jeff and I have talked about that. The person doesn't report to Jeff, they probably have to report to our local department. So those details would have to be worked out as well.
Yeah, there's two venues for that. So if they're hired as a school resource officer, there'd have to be an MOA with the current police department. If that's one course of action. The other is to hire independently an armed security guard that would then, because no matter what, the supervising officer would have to make sure that they're trained, yearly compliance, that I can't speak to, but, from range, pistol permit, all of that. And even new legislation regarding, use of force and things of that nature. So the person who would supervise them, if we run the route of school security officer with an MOU with our police department, that's one way. And then like an officer FIG would be in charge of supervising. If we went independently, then that agency would be responsible for all of their training, their supervision, their evaluation throughout the course of their employment.
Why not just table it till the new board comes in?
Good. I just thought, why delay the informational sessions?
We've delayed so many things since I've been on this board, man. We're still talking about a security officer and
It's up to us if we could say we'll delay the information until after November if you want.
seems
don't
fair.
That's up to us.
I don't think we should delay it. There's no reason to delay it. Get the informational sessions out there, have them, put them out there, post them, put the dates out, have them.
The
Invite
new
the
board
people
might
that are,
feel differently.
can I finish?
Clearly, you're gonna get two of these sessions in before the next 2 months anyhow. I mean,
We're only a month and a half from election.
So we could do one toward the end, middle to the end of October. And then you don't want to get too far into the winter months because then some of your older townspeople will not drive in bad weather.
But to your point about the board may be completely different after election. We've held off so many times on so many other things for a slew of reasons that make less sense than waiting for a new board to be elected.
Right. I see your point.
So, I mean, I'm a staunch, I can't stand this. I think it's dumb. I think it's a waste of our time. So we all know that. So, I don't know. It just seems like if you're waiting for new blood to come in here and maybe they sway your way and that's what you're hoping for, then you'd have a lot less nonsense to put up with, I guess. Or maybe it goes the other way. Who knows, right? An election is election. So we don't know how the town feels about certain people's presence here or not here. Or maybe after the election, we can kind of readdress this.
I think the data is going to be the data and the information is going to be the information. So I would say get them on the calendar, one before the election and one after the election. The people that are going to be running are aware of what's going on and can attend the events. And they can read and they can be presented the information when they come on board. So the information is going to be whatever the information is going to be. So I don't think there's a reason why we should delay it. I think we should get the dates on the calendar. We should start marketing it out there so people know that there are dates that are out there for this very purpose. Start putting it out on the chatter pages, the newspaper, wherever those means are that we have for marketing to get it out there and do it. And then we have the election and those people should be invited to that event and you're going to present the data to them when they come on board and it's going to be what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's going to be tough to get to whoever made the point, it's going to be tough to get that second session in before the election anyway. So one before, one after probably makes sense. And then make sure everyone's invited.
After all the times you've pushed things off for a month, now you're like
Well,
gung ho to push this to the front of the line?
we can talk about that after. I don't know what I pushed off. But Tom,
Are you in a position to have a presentation shortly? What's your lead
Yes.
time?
Yes, I am ready to publish flyers out to our community. Select 2 dates, one pre-election and one post-election. I'm ready to do that. Yes, sir.
all right, any other discussion? Motion is did you write down the motion?
No,
To have 2 informational sessions. You didn't talk about timing, but that's fine. Any other discussion before we vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Travis opposes. Everyone else? Motion passes. Thank you. All right, moving on to old business. We don't have anything. I don't have any other reports. So I will. You can have a motion to adjourn. He beat you.
I know we did. At 7:36.
Second, all those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.